Over the past 4 years, I've been experimenting and trying a variety of methods for how to manage my time, seeking to improve my efficiency as a full-time PhD student and part-time content creator who has also built 2 businesses on the side, managing a team of over 10 people. I have seemingly tried everything from reading Atomic Habits, binging productivity videos on YouTube, buying planner after planner to try and work out a system that works best. Now I'm going to share with you what I found. Hi everyone, my name is Kaylin and I am a 4th-year PhD candidate in History and African American Studies at Yale. And as I said before, I'm also a content creator and business owner. And I think a lot about how it is to maintain motivation, building systems that work best for me, and trying to share those tips with my audience. I've had a variety of career changes from being a full-time professional athlete and full-time student to then working in an office job while also balancing being in community college. I've also been a PhD student managing businesses and content on top of my research. And so I thought that now is as good a time as any to share the things that I figured out in my planning system that work best for me in order to maintain my sanity and to ensure that I'm also making progress on all of the different goals that I have for myself. In today's video, we're going to be breaking it down into my 3-part time management planning system. First, we're going to talk about calendar management. The second, we're going to talk a little bit about the day-to-day. And then lastly, we're going to talk about long-term planning. One quick note, in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the planning system that works best for me, and this might not work best for you. I have a lot of plate spinning at any given time, and so this is a system that I found works best for me to help me stay organized and to help ensure that I know what it is that I'm meant to be doing every single day, and I'm just going to be sharing that with you. What I hope for you to get out of this video is a few different tips and tricks for how it is that you might implement some of these systems in your own workflow, but also to encourage you to reflect on your own systems to figure out what might be working and how it is that you might simplify. While the system might seem a little bit complicated to some, this is largely pared down from systems I've used in the past, and I'm really excited to share with you what we've got in store. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I have a little special something for you, so definitely watch till the end and let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're gonna start off by talking about calendar management. I feel like I've tried all of the different systems. I've tried all of the different applications. I have tried Google Calendar and I've tried Fantastical and I've tried the iOS apps, and I just haven't quite figured out an application that works best for the things that I need to get out of a calendar management system. There are 3 things and 1 bonus thing that I look for in a calendar management system, and the first is the ability to integrate a variety of calendars. I have about 7 calendars going at any given time, and those things include things for my personal life and appointments, that includes stuff for school and deadlines, that includes client calls and other things related to my business, or study sessions that we run for Accepted Society. I also have my partner's calendar, so that way we can figure out how to organize different events with our friends. It's a lot, and in order to keep it all in one place, it's a lot, but ultimately, this is how it is that I color code and stay organized, and it's what works best for me. However, all of those calendars are on different email accounts, which just complicates things even further. So I need an application that integrates a variety of calendars. 2, I need multiple viewing options, and I need to be able to customize the viewing experience. I have seen so many different calendar apps that just look really clunky and it's really difficult to navigate. So I need it to be simple to navigate and easy for you to customize your viewing options. The third thing that I need is task management. I personally use my calendar to do a lot of time blocking, so the ability to integrate my to-do list or my task list is a mandatory element to any application that I use for my calendar. And then the bonus is if an application for calendar management also integrates apps that I use every single day. And I think I have found my perfect winner of an application, and that is Akiflow. Akiflow has so kindly offered to sponsor today's video, and I cannot wait to share with you how it is that I use it for my calendar management. But this app is all about supercharging your productivity with time blocking. Now, I've seen a lot of videos about time blocking and some misconceptions about how it might be used, so let's break it down. First and foremost, time blocking is essentially using your calendar to block out time for you to dedicate to a task, rather than just using your calendar for meetings or to indicate when you have classes. It's being able to also indicate when it is that you would like to be working on a particular project. Now, here's the thing. Time blocking can be rather exhausting, especially when you're jumping from thing to thing. And for those that are neurodiverse that might have difficulty transitioning between tasks, or who also struggle with the strict nature of time blocking, I have a couple of recommendations and I'm going to share them with you as I walk you through how I use Akiflow. In order to do that, I'm actually going to switch over to my computer and I'm going to walk you through the application, how it is that I use it, and then end with a couple of tips on how it is that you can implement time blocking into your daily routine. And then we're going to end off with a little discussion about how to use time blocking efficiently, but in a way that is flexible for your needs. Here you see my Akiflow dashboard, which shows my tasks and my to-do list, as well as my overall calendar. And as I said when introducing this section of the video, time blocking is something that's really critical to helping me manage my time. The way that I approach it is by establishing blocks for specific tasks that I have. And what's really cool about Akiflow is that you can actually just go straight to your tasks and drag them onto your calendar rather than feeling like you need to make a particular event. When you finish something, you can go ahead and check it off on your calendar. For example, I did script the DBA lesson this morning, so I'm going to go ahead and check that off for Sunday. I also updated my Notion weekly goals, so I'm going to go ahead and check that off, and we get this nice, satisfying ding, and it marks it off with a calendar. When I'm planning for a new week, what I'll do is I'll open up the weekly view and I'm trying to get a sense of what it is that I'm dedicating my time to. And as you can see, I have Monday prepared because I was doing my weekly planning earlier today. I can go ahead and select Monday, and you can see the two different things that I have slotted in as my to-dos. You can also see all of your tasks in one place, and I've also applied labels to all of these so that way I know what it is that they're dedicated to. For example, I have all of these pieces at the top, which is currently scheduled, and then down here are all of the things that are not yet scheduled. So this is what I would call my master to-do list. And what I can do is go ahead and slot these onto my calendar depending on when it is that I want to get them done. You can customize all of the labels and color code them so that way they are assigned based on your own preferences. And the other thing that's really cool is that it has this daily planning and shutdown feature, which will show you what tasks you have slotted for that particular day. And then when you go to the daily shutdown, it'll say all of the things that were due today, as well as the things that were pending. And you can go ahead and say if you want to perhaps move that to another day, or if you want to perhaps move that to tomorrow, and then it'll also prompt you to plan for the next day. Another thing that's really important to my own planning schedule is actually using the day before to plan rather than the morning of. So that way I go to bed knowing exactly what's expected of me the next day. And so I really like this feature and the fact that it prompts you to organize your tasks and organize your day the night before. Now that I've shown you how I use Akiflow to time block, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the features that I was discussing earlier. For example, having access to a variety of calendars. So as you can see here on the right-hand side, I have all of my calendars listed, and I can also decide which calendars I want to see at any given time. So let's say I want to focus only on my personal event. So I'll go ahead and close out all of my academic work, accepted work, client work, and then we're just left with stuff for my personal life and my personal to-dos. And as you can see, I have a lot of calendars I have to manage at any given time. So being able to select which ones that I have access to and can see on the feed is crucial. The other thing I'm going to show you is integrations. Here, as you can see, Akiflow offers a variety of integrations, and the ones that are the most important to me are being able to access all of my Google calendars, but also having access to Notion and to Zoom. And I actually linked Akiflow to my Notion database for my content planning, so that way I can see all of the different videos and due dates that I have on my calendar. It also has a Zoom integration, which is important because I have a lot of Zoom meetings, and being able to send out an invite where the Zoom link is already included is just makes my life so much easier. And I have used so many different applications, and this one is just the most seamless at being able to integrate all of the different things that I could want in an application. I just think that Akiflow is just the perfect all-in-one calendar planning system that incorporates your tasks, all of your different calendars, and everything that you need in order to stay organized. So highly recommend. But I want to talk a little bit about time blocking and how it is to make it work for you. Now that I've shown you how to actually use Akiflow, I just want to quickly touch on time blocking and time blocking exhaustion. So I mentioned before that two of the main difficulties that people seem to have with time blocking is transitions as well as the strict nature of time blocking. And this is where I just want to offer a recommendation or a potential approach that I would suggest trying. It might not work for you, but I think it's worth a shot if you're willing to give it a try. And that is, instead of thinking about the time blocks based on a particular task, think about the time blocks as a particular mindset or environment. So instead of saying from 11 to 12, I'm going to work on emails, instead, maybe perhaps think about a longer block of 2 or 3 hours so that way you're not focused on major transitions and it's instead indicated as admin. This can include emails or other things in your task sheet that are based on life admin, so calls that you might need to make, but it's a particular type of mindset. So I know that between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m., the only thing I need to worry about is life admin. The second tip is to reduce the amount of transitions you have to do throughout the day. So for example, instead of having various task blocks, thinking about these mindset or environment blocks and having no more than 2 or 3 per day. What I have found works best for me is if I have at most 2 main focuses for the day. That can be 2 particular tasks. It can be 2 particular things I want to focus on. I personally struggle with assigning tasks to my dissertation and to my writing process. I just simply cannot write into my to-do list, write 500 words of the dissertation today, because the dissertation, if anybody has done research of their own and has written a longer project, sometimes it just requires different things of you that day. And so when I have a day that I want to focus on my dissertation, I just set out a time block of a couple of hours in the morning and a couple of hours in the evening where I just say it's dissertation work. And the main focus of that block is just for me to pay attention to my dissertation and nothing else. This grants me the permission to say no to other things. And this is what I think is really valuable about time blocking and using an application like Akiflow to visually block off your calendar for rest or for time with friends or for a particular type of project that you're working on, is that it also grants you the license to say no to other things. If my calendar is empty and I don't have any particular calls that day, I oftentimes will allow other things to trickle in, such as if somebody asks me to take an additional call. Because it looks like my calendar is open, I go ahead and schedule it. But if I have a general time block to say that I'm going to be focusing on my dissertation, I'm just less likely to do that. So take these things with a grain of salt, try it out for yourself and see what might work. Perhaps think about time blocking instead of being task-based, thinking about it being mindset-based. If you're interested in Akiflow and trying time blocking for yourself, then go ahead and check out the link in my description and check out their free trial so that way you can test it out for yourself. Now we're going to move on to the second step in my planning system, which is my physical planner. While I use a variety of systems, including my calendar and long-term planning applications, I simply have not been able to divorce myself of the need for a physical planner. I've tried seemingly every different type of digital planner on the iPad. I've tried every type of physical planner, and this is the one that I think is just perfection, and that is my Golden Coil. So Golden Coil is a small business out of Utah run by 2 sisters, and they make custom planners. You heard that right. You can customize the pages, the cover, the information that's included, and I have not found a planner that is as perfect for me as Golden Coil. They are such incredible quality, and I have had them for the last 4 years, and I'm obsessed. I personally use the daily hourly layout, but I highly recommend just going and looking at all of the different options that they have to figure out what one might work best for you. The first step for using my Golden Coil is daily planning. And in order to do this, what I'll do is open up Akiflow so that way I can see the daily schedule, and I'll copy it down into the hourly slots on the left side of my sheet. Then I'll use the priority section to actually write out my daily habits. People can use this for a variety of things, including the things that are at the top of your to-do list that day, but personally, I use this for habit tracking, and then I use the to-do list section to write the things that I am going to be doing that specific day. And this is where my weekly planning system comes in. In the particular layout that I have for my Golden Coil planner, there's an additional note page every single week. And I use that in order to write down my goals for the week, broken down by category, as well as my quote unquote master to-do list. When I'm going and planning out an individual day, what I'm trying to think of is how to realistically integrate the things from that master to-do list in a way that is feasible for that specific day. This means that my to-do list on the right-hand side is almost never completely full, because to be realistic, there's no way that I'm going to finish 20 different things on the to-do list that particular day. But if I'm being realistic with my time blocks and with what type of energy I have that day, I can probably complete between 4 and 5. This varies depending on the day, especially based on the size of the task, but I try to think about my to-do list every single day as being focused on what it is that I can ideally accomplish, and then perhaps tacking on a thing or two that I might want to add on if there is additional time. But because of this planning system that I've developed and having put it into practice over the last couple of months, I have found that I have become much more realistic about what it is that I can accomplish in a given day. So one recommendation that I have is to not just write your to-do list for every individual day, but also write how much time you think it might take. And then at the end of the day, reflect and see if that was actually realistic about how it is that your time might be managed. For me, I tended to write down about half the amount of time that I actually needed to complete a particular task. And having this exercise where I predicted how much time I thought something would take and then reflecting afterward has made me much more realistic about what it is that I can accomplish, and therefore making me more efficient over time. Now we're going to move on to the third and final step of my planning system, and that is long-term planning using Notion. One of the things I see so often is that we set these big overarching goals at the beginning of the new year, and we don't think about how we're going to integrate that not only in the month to month, but in the day to day. And one thing that I have found works the absolute best for me is to have some way to visually check in with my goals every single day. So that way I can actively see the progress and engage in trying to get closer to those goals every day. For you, that might be using a whiteboard or having a post-it on your computer. But for me, it's checking my Notion dashboard every single day. But I'm gonna go ahead and actually take you to my Notion dashboard and walk you through the different systems I have in place to check in on my goals every single day. As you all know, I am a Notion girly. I have loved Notion for years, and this is how I organize everything in my life. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through my dashboard. And as I said before, it's really important for me to visualize all of the different things that I want to accomplish. And one way that I do that is by having these progress bars in addition to actually writing down the goals. So as you can see here, I have my 2023 goals, my monthly goals, and my weekly goals, but I also have the big picture. So the big picture is there to remind me of what it is that I want to accomplish in the long term. And as you can see here, complete and defend my dissertation is goal number one. That is my number one priority at the moment. And number two is that I would really like to reach 250,000 subscribers on YouTube. None of these have a particular deadline, but they are things that I want to think about and imagine that I'm moving towards every single day when I log on to Notion. I also have a savings goal. I also want to pay off my student debt. And now let's go ahead over to my other goals. So 2023 goals, as you can see, we are making very fine progress on all of these. And I'm so proud of myself because it's the first year in my entire life where I've written down goals at the beginning of January and have really felt like I have made active progress on every single one of them. Reason I think this is possible is because of this planning system and because I use this particular system of visualizing and having my Notion dashboard to remind me of the things that I want to work towards. You can call it whatever you want, but seems to be working. So I'm very proud of myself and the progress I've made, and this year has been really special. Now I'm going to show you my monthly goals, and as you can see here, I haven't made a huge amount of progress on my monthly goals, and that's something that I really want to work on. Looking at this on a Sunday when I'm planning the week ahead reminds me of these different tasks and different goals that I have and that I haven't made very much progress on them. And we're heading into the second week of the month and I want to be making more progress. And so this just reminds me that I need to make time for these goals. And that is when we get to the weekly goals. So the weekly goals, as you can see, really breaks down those monthly goals. So that way I can make progress on them this week. So that way I am slowly moving towards that target. Now, the rest of my Notion dashboard is keeping me organized. So I have my master to-do list, but I really use Akiflow for most of my tasks and my notebook. So I don't actively update this as much as I used to when I did more digital planning. But as we scroll down, we have my life dashboard, which has all of my long-term planning, my habits, and all of that. And if you scroll down further than that, we've got my professional dashboard as well as my creative dashboard, which has my novel and my reading tracker. It's got my content plan as well as my PhD dashboard. And then below that, we have my perfect week, which I've talked about in other videos. But having Notion as my means of checking in with my long-term goals is one of the things that has ensured that I've made progress throughout this entire year, and it has just helped me see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so while it is great to have a daily plan and to have a system for organizing all of the little things, I also think it's important to see the big picture and to also acknowledge the progress that you've made over time. I just love Notion and this entire planning system. The integration of Akiflow, my Golden Coil, and Notion is just the trifecta of planning, in my opinion. We have now reached the end of today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. To quickly recap, we've covered my 3-step planning system, which included my calendar management system, my day-to-day physical planner, as well as my long-term planning system with Notion. One thing I hope you took away from this video are a variety of approaches that you might integrate into your own planning system that can help you become more efficient, as well as to make time for the things that you really love. Creating a productivity system isn't just about output. It's also about creating the time for experiences and for activities that bring us joy, such as being around your friends or your family or cooking or contributing to a hobby that you've had and want to dedicate more time to. Productivity systems and time management should be considered on a case-by-case basis. And while I've shown you my planning system, I would love to know a little bit more about yours and the things that have worked for you. So go ahead and leave a comment down below. Thank you so much to Akiflow for sponsoring today's video. If you're interested in checking out Akiflow, check out the link in my description. And at the beginning of this video, I promised that there would be a little gift. From now until January 15th, 2024, you can use the discount code ILOVEPLANNING in my Notion shop in order to get 50% off any of the Notion templates that I create. I'm launching a bunch of new ones on December 31st, so definitely keep an eye out and remember to write down this discount code so that way you can take advantage of it when they launch. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you're notified next time I post. And I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.